What's up, YTPC? This is DSG Pipe Smoker with another pipe smoking video. Got my Dagner P5 again, with some Mosquito in it. And, oh, I should specify this, the Escudo. It is a 2005 vintage Escudo. And it is damn good. Holy shit, I've never had fresh Escudo, like brand new, fresh from the factory or fresh from the distributor, but it's miles better than Peter Stuckaby's Luxury Bullseye Flake. Kind of makes me want to try a fresh tin. I think that's what I'll order on my next pipes and cigars order. Oh, I'm also drinking, what are these? The Stash Premium Tea Spice Dragon Red Chai Herbal Tea. It's not bad. But that's not what today's video is about. Today is a VR to Jay Dighsk's 2017 questions. Every year he gives out 10 questions for his subscribers to answer. Just to kind of get to know everybody. I never got to do this last year. I believe when it was going on, I noticed people were doing VRs to it, but I didn't fully understand what the VR entailed. So, I'm going to give my entry for this year. Question number 1. What do the following cost where you live? Gallon of milk, dozen eggs, 50 grams of tobacco, gallon of gas, 1 large 2-topping pizza, and 1 large 2-topping pizza. So, I just went to the store to grab the first 2 items, the dozen eggs and a gallon of milk. Generally speaking, when I go shopping, I don't pay too much attention to prices. I try to stick to a budget, and the way I do that is, let's say I want to spend less than $100. I will just grab 10 items that are no more than $10, and there you go. I won't spend over $100. But I bought a dozen eggs and a gallon of milk today, and paid attention to how much they were this time. And I got them from the Fred Meyer in Wasilla. Gallon of milk, this was whole milk, cost $3.79. A dozen eggs, these were the AA grade eggs, and these were large eggs. Nothing too fancy. Dozen of them for $1.99. Gallon of gas. Right now it's pretty reasonable. Today it was around $2.49. Yesterday it was at $2.64. This is for unleaded. Obviously it's going to go up from there as you upgrade the quality of the gas from regular to premium, and then whatever's between regular and premium. But I remember when it was like $4.25, $4.30, somewhere in there. And those are, by the way, the prices where I live, which is South Central Alaska. It's the most populated section of Alaska, which, by the way, that sentence alone covered the bonus question. But anyway, back in 2008, when I was still in wrestling in high school, drop my tamper, hold on. When I was in high school, went to Kotzebue, which is just above the Arctic Circle, a little bit north of Nome. You might recognize that name. That's the town where the end of the Iditarod is. It's the finish line for the Iditarod. Anyway, back in 2008, when a gallon of milk was, I think, $3, maybe a little bit more than $3, around $3. Up there it was like $4.50, $4 something. It was a little over $4, but I think it was like $4.50 for a gallon. So they got it pretty rough in rural Alaska. We've got it pretty easy here. Moving on with the list, though. 50 grams of tobacco. We've got some pretty hefty taxes. I can't remember exactly what the percentage is, but, or taxes on tobacco, I should say. I got this 1792 flake from G&P Fine Tobaccos in Anchorage for $25. Now, that's on the high end. They sell Dunhill, Orlick, McBaron stuff. So, their tins typically range somewhere between, what would I put down here? About 18 to 23. A pouch of Captain Black and similar over-the-counter blends typically cost somewhere between 12 and 16. But that's how much tobacco costs up here. One large 2-topping pizza. This is going to vary from restaurant to restaurant. There's actually a surprising amount of pizzerias up here. But a 2-topping, a large 2-topping pizza up here typically averages about $14 to $16. So I hope that satisfies your first question, Jay. Second question, do you believe in luck? Well, I do, but I also recognize that some things are within your control and some things happen because you made decisions. For example, a gifted athlete is extremely lucky, okay? They hit the lottery of all lotteries. Out of the billions of people who could pair up and become that gifted athlete's parents, that gifted athlete was lucky enough to have the right mom and the right dad with just the right amount of genetics to give them the edge in the sport that they are elite in. That being said, how many people do you know in high school or in college and you were like, man, that guy's such a gifted athlete, he doesn't really have to try, and he doesn't try, and yeah, he gets by, and he or she gets by in what they're doing for the time being, but as soon as they get to heavier and heavier competitions, and they get further and further up that, up the totem pole, basically, closer and closer to pro, or closer and closer to the Olympics, they find out that, you know, everybody else that's at the top has the same genetics. They got just as lucky. Well, that athlete now has to work and has to make the right decisions and has to basically bust their ass and get what they want to get out of the sport and achieve the highest level that they possibly can. Whether that's becoming a pro, getting a gold at the Olympics, getting sponsorships from major organizations, etc., etc. So that's my answer to, do I believe in luck? I do believe that people get lucky. I do believe that people get put in lucky situations, but I also don't think it's the only thing that happens. The only reason that things happen, I believe that some things happen because we either decide to make them happen or we don't decide to make them happen. This is good tobacco. No bite whatsoever, which is awesome. So question number 3 is, what do you normally eat for lunch? Lately I've been doing a lot of Panda Express, and Panda Express, for those of you who don't know, it's sort of like, it's like the Subway of Chinese restaurants, or the Qdoba of Chinese restaurants. You go in, and they have different sections where you pick out different food, and the individual working there puts the food in your plate, or in your to-go box, right in front of you. Well, they have these deals where they have a bowl, a plate, and a bigger plate. Basically, they all come with different amounts of entrees. Bowl is 1 entree, plate is 2 entrees, bigger plate is 3 entrees. But they all come with a side. What I've been getting there a lot is the plate, or the bigger plate, of 2 or 3 orders, respectively, of the teriyaki chicken with a side of fried rice. Really good stuff. They're in the same parking lot as Fred Meyer's, not too far from where I work. Number 4. Would you live in complete darkness for money? Well, if we're taking this sentence literally, no, because it's too vague. Are you going to leave me in darkness for almost my entire life, up until the last moments before I die, and then I get a penny? Or am I going to live in darkness for a couple days and then come out a millionaire or a billionaire, a trillionaire? It's too vague, and there's too much that could potentially go right or go wrong. There's just too much of a risk there. So I'm going to say no to that. Number 5 is an interesting one. If you could become an expert at one skill instantly, what would it be? Probably speaking and communicating in general. Public speaking, socializing better, just communication skills in general. I think anybody would benefit from that, but I would benefit from it especially. It would carry over into any aspect of my professional or social or leisure life. I can make better YouTube videos, which is always a plus. Number 6, do you believe in reincarnation? Well, Jay, I'm going to answer your question with a question. My subscribers can follow along, obviously. Do you guys ever remember being something other than who you are right now? If you are a sane person, your answer is probably going to be something to the effect of no. I've only ever met one person who believed that they were reincarnated. And she believed, she being my ex, she believed that she was reincarnated from a wolf. Yep, she was one of those people. She was also bipolar. She had been admitted into psychiatric care several times in her life. And she was completely batshit insane. Not exactly the most reliable source for that, I would imagine. Now, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say something to the effect of, well, reincarnation does happen. Just because you don't remember it happening doesn't mean it didn't happen. Here's the deal. Let's pretend that's true. Maybe it is, but let's entertain the idea. It probably isn't, but let's entertain the idea. The whole point in reincarnating, as I understand it, is so that you can either get a second chance and or you can live on. Hopefully live on forever, because you would just become something else, but you as a person, you as a spirit, would live on through something else, or someone else. If you don't remember who you used to be, if whatever it was you're reincarnated from isn't part of you now, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Obviously, if you are you, and you have no connection with whoever you were reincarnated with, if you were even reincarnated with someone or something, in which case, whatever you were reincarnated from is truly dead. It no longer exists. And you only have one shot at life, because you won't be reincarnated as anything. Just my own thoughts. Would love to hear yours. Number 7. Would you rather row across the ocean or walk the desert? I'll walk the desert any damn day. I get seasick pretty easily. I've been halibut fishing twice, and both times I puked my guts out constantly to the point that I started dry heaving, which is really bad because you can die from dehydration doing that. But I had fun. I've caught halibut before. It's pretty fun, as long as you don't get seasick. So yeah, I'd rather walk across the desert than do anything in open ocean water. Number 8. In 5 years from now, will you remember what you did yesterday? very doubtful. I don't remember much of what happened yesterday. And I was sober, so I don't know, maybe it just wasn't that eventful. Yesterday was just like any other day. So, yeah, probably not. Would you go to the moon? Hell yeah, I would. I'd go on a rocket ship to anywhere. Oh, maybe not anywhere. Anywhere where I could hopefully come back in a rocket ship. Back to Earth. This Bic lighter's running out of fluid. But yeah, I'd go to the moon in a heartbeat. I'd go on a rocket ship in a heartbeat. Who wouldn't want to do that? Though, now that I think about it, and I didn't think about this until now, it just says go to the moon, it doesn't say come back. So, with that, would I want to go to the moon not knowing if I'll make it back? Well, I don't know. Probably not. Earth is pretty awesome. But anyway, moving on. We're already 22 minutes in. Has your greatest fear ever came true? Well, I'm not homeless. I have friends and family. I'm not crippled. And while I might be a little slow, we'll just use that PC term, I'm not a vegetable either, so nope. Worst fears have not come true yet. And hopefully never will, but knocking on wood, so far so good. And the last question, of course, was, what state do you live in? Well, I already covered that, and many of you already know that. I live in Alaska. Well, I need to go get a pipe cleaner. Jay, this was entertaining. Hope you guys learned something from it. I'm gonna go get a pipe cleaner, like I said. Unclog my pipe. And get right back to this blend. This awesome, let's see, 2005, so that's what, 12 years? 12-year-old Escudo from Berg. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been DSG Pipe Smoker with another pipe smoking video. You guys have a good day.